Alright, so the first thing we're going to put together, and this is something that can be done a few days ahead of time, is the creme brulee. So with creme brulee, it's a baked custard. We're going to do a banana foster, which means we're going to flavor it with a little bit of this banana puree that I've made earlier. I will outline in a demo how to make it, and then go from there. It's a quick and easy thing. Basically, all this is bananas cooked with brown sugar, banana liqueur, butter, and a little bit of dark rum. So we're going to take that. Behind me, I have the cream heating up. I'm just going to put that in there to soften it up a little bit. While that's softening up, I'm going to take 4 ounces of sugar. I'm going to take about half of that, put it in my bowl. I'm going to take and separate my eggs because we just want the yolks for this. It's a very rich dessert. If you get the white in, the proteins in the white tend to kind of coagulate and make it a little bit grainy, give you hard little pieces in it. These can be saved up, making an omelet or something later. Go ahead and throw them in it, or we use them a lot at the restaurant for breading things, stuff like that, things like that. So all I'm doing is basically taking the shells and letting the yolk kind of run off between them. If you're nice and gentle, the yolk will stay in one piece. There's a couple different gadgets for this. I've never really found much use in them. Worst comes to worst, just let it run through your hands. So what we're doing here is adding the sugar, and we're doing a process called tempering, where we're basically heating up the eggs a little bit, so when they go into the oven, they don't get the thermal shock of being right up against the heat. We have the oven set to 325, a little bit of low fan for convection. I'm going to take those, save them for later. So what I'm going to do is I'll have my bowl, have my whisk. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of mix these together. While that's mixing together, to bake a creme brulee, you need some heat-proof dishes. I have a little bit of Pyrex pan, some soup cups. You also need a little bit of warm water to get that started with a water bath. So really, the secret to creme brulee to me is not rushing it and also tempering your ingredients. You do not want to just kind of put everything in hot or cold. And it's also just the amount of time you have. You see there's plenty of room around these to bake. I think the biggest mistake that's made when people bake creme brulees is they're overdone. So now that we got this, I'm going to go over to my warmed cream. Just kind of start drizzling it in. Get all my pureed bananas in there. Just kind of, mix it all together. Don't want to over whip it, whip too much air into it. It's already a little bit chunky. The banana puree you'll be getting is not overly smooth. Still has some pieces of banana in it. So once that's done, I'm just going to split these up between the two. Half and half. I'm going to go ahead with my warm water, and this really helps insulate it, keeps it from cooking too hard. Water's only going to get 200 and some degrees, 212 degrees, maybe a little bit hotter. So just around that. The other trick is, if you're nervous about putting the water in it, set the pan in the oven first and then add the water. So with this amount of density going into the oven, these are probably going to take about 45 minutes. The cooking time will vary greatly depending on how deep a dish you put it in. If I was to put it in just this dish and spread that all out, it would cook much faster. So with them done this way, I'm going to go ahead and say about 45 minutes. I'm going to try this or check it. I'm going to go ahead and slide them into the oven. I was ill prepared with the skillet in my way there. And then about 45 minutes or so, we'll give those a check.